Welcome. It's October, the only month where I can walk out in public dressed like this. And it's time for another scary movie review. So for today, I'm going to review Halloween 2. Halloween 2 is a 1981 American slasher film directed by Rick Rosenthal in his directorial debut, and it was written and produced by both John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. It is the second installment in the Halloween film franchise and serves as a direct sequel to the original Halloween from 1978. It was distributed by Universal Pictures and premiered in the United States on October 3rd, 1981. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the film begins with Mr. Sandman. Yeah, this song will later show up in Halloween H2O. Like I mentioned before, the film takes place immediately after the first one as Michael Myers is shot by his psychiatrist, Dr. Sam Loomis, played again by Donald Pleasence. Unsurprisingly, Michael Myers survives and escapes into the night.
Call the police! He's still on the loose!
Is this some kind of joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is.
You're goddamn right.
Anyways, time for the opening credits, which is a synthesized version of Carpenter's original theme. Then Michael Myers wanders into an alley and steals a kitchen knife from an elderly couple and kills the teenage girl next door, Alice Martin. Meanwhile, Laurie Strode, played again by Jamie Lee Curtis, is taken to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where we meet the two EMTs, Bud, played by Leo Rossi, and Jimmy, played by Lance Guest. And there's the head nurse, Miss Alvis, played by Gloria Gifford, Nurse Jill, played by Tawny Moyer, and the half-drunk Dr. Mixter, played by Ford Rainey.
Janet, get me some more coffee.
Make him an Irish coffee, and bring me one too. And don't worry about Laurie, she's getting the good stuff. Meanwhile, both Loomis and Sheriff Brackett continue their pursuit of Michael Myers. And Loomis mistakes a costumed Ben Tramer for Michael Myers. And yes, that's the Giga Chad himself, Ben Tramer, who was Laurie's crush from the first film.
I'd rather go with Ben Tramer. Ben Tramer? I knew it! Shut up. He's cute!
Unfortunately, Ben gets the shitty end of the stick. Then Sheriff Brackett learns that his daughter Annie has been killed by Michael, and he blames Loomis for it. And he abandons the search, leaving Deputy Gary Hunt to take his place. At the hospital, the paramedic Jimmy begins to fall in love with Laurie, but the head nurse Alvis cockblocks him. Meanwhile, Michael Myers finds out that Laurie is still alive at the hospital after hearing a radio broadcast. So he makes his way to the hospital. When he arrives, he cuts the phone lines, disables the cars, and wanders the hallways to search for Laurie. And then he takes care of the security guard. Hammer time, bitch. Anyways, Jimmy then tells Laurie that her attacker was none other than Michael Myers.
That little kid who killed his sister? Yeah. Why me?
Don't worry about that, Laurie. They'll explain it later. Anyways, Laurie later dreams about the time she learned that she was adopted and remembers that she once visited a young boy at a sanitarium. Again, this will be explained later in the film. So let's get back to Bud getting romantic with one of the nurses, Karen, and they are getting it on in a hospital therapy pool. Hell, even Michael Myers turns up the heat. Then Bud gets out to check on it and gets strangled to death. Michael then approaches Karen from behind and she does this.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's disgusting. You don't know where his hands have been in. Michael then boils the fuck out of her until she drowns. Meanwhile, Loomis is informed that Michael Myers had broken into a local elementary school where he wrote Samhain.
Samhain. It means the Lord of the Dead.
It's pronounced Samhain, Loomis. And fun fact about this part, in the novelization of the first film, it explains that Michael Myers is possessed by a bloodthirsty Celtic teenager, so he now continues the old druid rituals by killing people in Halloween. Then Loomis' colleague, Marion Chambers, the nurse from the first film, arrives to escort him back to Smith's Grove on the governor's orders and under enforcement of a federal marshal. On the way, Marion drops a bombshell on Loomis.
That Strode girl, that's Michael Myers' sister.
Yup, you heard that correctly. Laurie is Michael Myers' sister, and she was put up for adoption after the death of her parents. With the record sealed to protect the family, Loomis realizes that Michael is now on the prowl to kill his sister, so he forces the marshal at gunpoint to drive back to Haddonfield.
What is it you fellas usually do? Fire a warning shot, right?
Back at the hospital, Jimmy and the nurse Jill find Laurie in a state of shock from her meds. So Nurse Jill sends the other nurse Janet to find Dr. Mixer, and she finds him as dead as a doorknob. Then Michael gives her a needle to her skull. Then Jimmy leaves to find Dr. Mixer, only to find the body of Miss Alves, before slipping in a pool of her blood, knocking himself unconscious. Meanwhile, Nurse Jill gets distracted with another patient, giving Michael Myers the opportunity to enter Laurie's room and start stabbing. However, he discovers that he's been duped while Laurie limps away. Then Nurse Jill finally finds Laurie and Michael too. Now it's time for another chase scene with Laurie and Michael, ER edition. Laurie manages to escape to the parking lot and hides in a car, where Jimmy soon arrives and tries to drive the car to safety, but he passes out on the horn, alerting Michael. Luckily, Loomis, Marion, and the marshal reach the hospital, but Laurie is crawling for her life and she can barely shout. Then Michael shows up and chases her to the hospital entrance.
Well, we're bones.
Luckily, Loomis opens the door in time to save Laurie, and he pops a cap on Michael's ass. Then Marion calls the police on the marshal's police radio while the marshal himself tries to check on Michael's pulse, as Loomis wants him to stay away knowing that he isn't dead.
No!
Gotcha, bitch! Coming for you, nigga.
So now both Loomis and Laurie run into the operating room, where he gives her the marshal's gun before being stabbed by Michael. Then Laurie shoots Michael in both of his eyes, blinding him. Question: how the fuck is he still alive? I know that he's the embodiment of evil, but he took 2 headshots to his fucking eyes. Anyways, Michael just staggers around trying to find them, and both Dr. Loomis and Laurie fill the room with flammable gas. Loomis orders her to run out, and this happens.
It's time, Michael.
What the fuck?
However, Michael Myers still survives, engulfed in flames before finally collapsing. The next morning, Laurie is transferred to another hospital because she fucking deserves it after the shit she just went through. Oh, and before I forget, Dana Carvey is in this film in a minor role. See, there he is. And that was Halloween 2. The film was a box office success, but it received mixed reviews. Also, Halloween 2 was intended to be the last chapter of the Halloween series to revolve around Michael Myers. And instead, it would be an anthology series with something spooky happening on Halloween night. However, after the lackluster reaction to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Michael Myers was brought back 6 years later in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers in 1988. And the sibling storyline was brought back in the sequels and the Rob Zombie remakes. And as you can tell, it didn't turn out very well. Hell, even John Carpenter hates the sibling twist, as he came up up with it after seeing The Empire Strikes Back and drinking a 6-pack of beer. So now, what is my opinion of this film? And not gonna lie, I'm kinda split on it. Like, first of all, I like how it has some of the original's visual style, and it's great to see both Laurie and Loomis back again, and seeing Michael Myers being more bloodthirsty is a bonus. And I also find it funny how Dr. Loomis loses his mind during this film, like when he was trying to pop a cap on Ben Tramer's ass. However, what I dislike about it is that Laurie is in bed for a majority of the film. I don't really care about the hospital staff, and surprisingly enough, they had more character development in the TV version. I also dislike the sibling twist that gave Michael Myers a motivation to kill, because I thought it was scarier that he didn't and just killed whoever. Also, the film didn't explain the Samhain part very well, and I had to Google that shit. And for the biggest sin of all, they killed Ben Tramer. And I just realized something after rewatching this film, that both Halloween 2 and Halloween Kills have the exact same shit. They both have Laurie Strode in a hospital bed for the majority of the film. There's some dumbass characters that get killed. Michael Myers has a higher kill count, and it's more violent than the original. The plot goes through some weird shit, and they mistaken an innocent person for Michael Myers. So overall, this film is not as good as the original, but it is better than its sequels. Hell, I'll watch it over the sequels. So I'll give this 2.5 William Shatner masks out of 5. And that was the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Stay safe out there. Goodbye.
Every other word you say is either hell or shit or damn.
Sorry. I guess I just fuck up all the time.